So you remember the 2017 Justice League film? Started by Zack Snyder, but finished by Joss Whedon. I thought it was okay. It wasn't terrible. It was no Avengers, let's be honest. But then they tried to get us to watch the Snyder Cut. Excuse me, 4 hours? And I watched that first hour or so of the Snyder Cut. And oh my god, it is so freaking boring. Why is it so long? But here's something that actually does justice to the Justice League. The Justice League animated series. I have here the Justice League The Brave and the Bold, considered Volume 4 of the Justice League Kids collection. I like this show a lot, actually. I mean, you've got your iconic Justice League characters in there. Iconic except for maybe like Hawk Girl. I guess they needed more female presence in the Justice League and all they had was Wonder Woman. So yeah, she's okay. But I mean, look, you got The Flash, you got Batman, you got Green Lantern, you got Superman, you got Wonder Woman, and this guy not facing the camera is the Martian Manhunter. Now each of these heroes has their own history in DC Comics going back to, well, most of them back to like the 60s, some of them back to the 30s. I mean, yeah, DC Comics, those iconic heroes. But they all got together and got real cheesy in the 60s with the Justice League comic book. You know what I'm talking about, right? You need to tell me that this shit ain't cheesy? Man, some of those covers and some of those dumbass storylines. Okay, it is what it is, right? Well, the Justice League animated series takes all that goofy shit and makes it serious. They're the ultimate heroes of the world, the protectors of Earth. But yeah, you know, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, blah blah blah. All those heroes are all in here, and they're presented very epic, as a matter of fact. I mean, even the opening theme song and the animation, you get like all the iconic villains, and you get all the crazy, wacky superpowers that are going on, and they don't spend a whole lot of time trying to explain it, but setting up crazy stories to do with these supervillains, and of course only the Justice League can deal with these threats. Now, this DVD, Volume 4, you get The Brave and the Bold, Part 1, Brave and the Bold, Part 2, then you get Injustice for All, Part 1, and Injustice for All, Part 2. Now, the Brave and the Bold storyline basically focuses heavily on the Flash, and you get to see the Flash, who he is, jokes about him, how he eats all the time, and you know, he runs all over the place, and he's kind of an idiot, but he's also kind of clever, but he's like super fast. He's the fastest man on Earth. You know, and they show him like trying to pick up girls and stuff like that, and he's failing. And he's helped out by Green Lantern, the John Stewart version of Green Lantern. Not that John Stewart. And eventually the rest of the Justice League shows up, and the whole 2-episode arc deals with talking gorillas, intelligent gorillas, that have a hidden city in the middle of Africa somewhere, very much like Wakanda, where all the gorillas are intelligent, and they're like super scientists, and they're all brilliant, and they have all this crazy technology and stuff, and Gorilla Grodd is the main antagonist, and he comes from Gorilla City, and Gorilla Grodd is basically got like mind control powers and stuff, and he's supposed to be super smart, evil genius, but also super strong because he's a gorilla. He takes hostages, and he wants to get revenge on Gorilla City because he got kicked out, and he wants to blow up Gorilla City. Green Lantern and Flash find out this plan, and they have to go to save Gorilla City, and of course they enlist the help of the rest of the Justice League at this point. And yeah, it's all very exciting. You get this, all the superpowers get displayed here. You know, the Martian Manhunter has some cool, crazy powers, and Superman, of course, Batman, you know, throwing his batarangs, and he's like this brilliant tactician and stuff, and super tough fighter, and Wonder Woman just completely kicks everybody's ass and super strong, and Hawkgirl just bashes stuff with her mace. I still think she's kind of a dumb addition here. Oh, and that's one thing about this cartoon in general, is the Justice League cartoon, not Justice League Unlimited, but the Justice League cartoon features the 7 iconic Justice League members. Because, well, most of the episodes, you're only going to see those 7 members. I guess they're considered the founding members. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, Martian Manhunter, and Hawkgirl. Really? Who the fuck is Aquaman? Yeah, so I guess season 1 of Justice League was just these 7 guys. And then Justice League Unlimited was where they open the roster to everybody and they invite all kinds of superheroes, and there's like different superheroes every week. That was awesome. This is also awesome. Not as awesome as that. Now, the second story arc in this DVD was Injustice for All. Starts off with Lex Luthor, and he's confronting Superman with a chunk of kryptonite in his hands, and he's taken down Superman. He's got him hostage or whatever, but it turns out that the Justice League has set a trap for him and they tricked him, and it's actually Martian Manhunter in disguise that Luthor is holding captive, and they neutralize the kryptonite, and the rest of the Justice League bursts in, but he escapes, but then he keels over and crashes his plane, and it turns out that Lex Luthor is dying. We cut to Superman visiting Lex Luthor in the hospital and saying, the doctor has some bad news for you, Lex. Apparently all that kryptonite you've been carrying around with you for years and years in defense against Superman has been giving you cancer or some horrible disease, or it's killing you and you're gonna die soon. So Lex Luthor, of course, is pissed off at Superman for really this being his fault, that he needed that kryptonite all the time. He's super bitter about it, and he wants to go out with a bang, and he wants to pull off one final caper. Now, Luthor almost immediately escapes from jail with the aid of the Ultra Humanite. That's right, the Ultra Humanite is like a mutated gorilla. Wait a minute, didn't we just have talking intelligent gorillas the last 2 episodes? But this is a totally different one. Anyway, he's got a super big brain. He's got veins pulsing in his weird gorilla head brain. And he helps Luthor escape using his smarts and also his strength and his agility as a gorilla. And he helps Lex Luthor get a evil supervillain team together. You get the Cheetah, Copperhead, who's like a snake guy, Solomon Grundy, big zombie Hulk guy, the Shade, who has these mystical darkness powers or something. Then you get Star Sapphire, and of course the Ultra Humanite. Add Lex Luthor in there and you have exactly 7 members of this supervillain evil club. Well, isn't that a coincidence? There's exactly 7 Justice League members too. Couldn't you hire a couple more guys, a couple more people with obscure superpowers even? Then you can outnumber your enemy. That's a basic tactic, How brilliant is your plan, Luthor? There's a big battle in this museum or something like that, and it's all pretty epic, and we get to see all the superpowers on display, which is really cool. Yeah, and Batman gets blown up and captured. So they got Batman in restraints and kind of holding him hostage, and the Justice League has also got to deal with a threat that happens aboard the Watchtower, their big floating space station in the sky. And the bad guys go there and try and infiltrate it and steal their secrets or blow it up or whatever they're going to do. Well, Justice League stops them, of course, and then they eventually rescue Batman, or rather Batman gets free by playing mind games with all the people that are holding him hostage. They send one person in, they're go watch Batman for a while, make sure he's not up to anything, and he's all chained up, and they got him under this stasis field or something like that. And so he plays with the minds of all the other villains and stuff. It's hey, how much is Luthor paying you? Because maybe you could go ask him for more, and 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 is trying to turn all these people against Lex Luthor. And then he eventually like makes out with the cheetah and somehow escapes from his bondage. And yeah, it ends like you think it would. Lex Luthor still kind of lives in the end, and he doesn't die from his kryptonite poisoning or whatever. They end up finding a cure for him, but he's back in jail. And so's the Ultra Humanite. And at the very end of it, it's like he was the one that betrayed Luthor because Batman promised him a bunch of money to donate to the arts channel. So what do I think of this series overall? Well, overall I think the Justice League is an amazing series. Now, I haven't watched it in a long time. I guess it's been 3-4 years since I've seen any Justice League animated. But watching these 4 episodes reminds me of why I used to watch it all the time. And I want to watch more. Like, the animation is, I mean, it's not super complex, but it looks good, and it looks like comic booky, and the music even, and the editing, and the voice acting is all top quality here. DC has always been really good at making animated movies. I think better than Marvel. The way that it's made, it's a perfect adaptation of a comic book. It's just like that Challenge of the Super Friends. It has all your favorite heroes versus a whole bunch of crazy villains. It's exciting. It's as exciting as any comic book that I've ever read. And I am looking forward to getting my hands on some DVD copies of Justice League Unlimited, as well as Batman Brave and the Bold, and more of the Justice League. I'm going to go ahead and give this Justice League Volume 4 an A-. Yeah, for all the reasons that I just mentioned. For whatever reason, there's a whole bunch of gorilla stuff in here, and I'm a sucker for gorillas. Only thing that I kind of didn't like about it, it's not that I didn't like it, but I was missing Aquaman. We had Hawkgirl instead of Aquaman. A-, man. You could have done better. In all seriousness, it's a great cartoon. So until next time, have a good one.